Hello and welcome to a new video from Careers Talks, where I chat with professionals in the tech, consulting and finance industries about their career choices and daily job responsibilities. In this video I chat with Nikola. Nikola was a semi-professional basketball player in Serbia, and now he works as an investment banking associate at Evercore. In this episode, we discuss how Nikola made the shift from being a basketball player to an investment banker, why he made the shift, and additionally a bit more on his daily job responsibilities and how he shifted from HSBC to Evercore. We also discuss why is Nikola still working investment banking after 4 years, and what is better, a master's degree or an internship to pursue a career in investment banking. A lot more interesting topics in this episode. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Hello everyone and welcome to a new episode of Careers Talks. Today I have Nikola. Nikola did his bachelor's in economics and then did a master's at IE Business School in finance. He worked in investment banking for a couple of years, 2 years at HSBC and now almost 2 years at Evercore. You covered multiple industries. In your internship you did infrastructure, real estate. At HSBC you did natural resources, and at Evercore you're doing energy. So we're gonna cover a lot about your job, your daily responsibilities, what do you do, what is investment banking, how did you shift from really focusing on basketball in the early days and being almost semi-professional to shifting to investment banking and the corporate world. So actually I want to touch on, first of all, how are you doing, Nicola?
I'm okay. I'm quite well. Thanks for inviting me to this podcast. Happy to be your guest and chat about various things today. I mean, as you said, like you covered my profile pretty well. I wouldn't do it better, but yeah, we can start off.
Of course, yeah. I think what's really interesting to me, and what I wanted to know more about is you really had a passion for basketball.
Yep.
You was almost a semi-professional. You were one of the top players among your age back then in Serbia.
Yeah.
So how did you make that decision of going to uni and maybe focusing more on the jobs aspect, getting a degree, and how did that idea come up?
Yeah, so that's a really good question because I mean, as you said, like basketball was my passion, and I did spend enormous amount of time playing basketball, and it was something that I really wanted to do in my life, and I can say I was good at it. I mean, Serbia is very competitive in basketball, just for people who don't know, and it's like to be like top player in Serbia, it's super difficult. So there are like a lot of guys that are better than me that are nowadays playing in like major leagues, etc. But I can say I was good for my age. But the thing is, like, it literally just one day it clicked to me that like I had a few injuries, and then I was a bit disappointed with how I was playing. I wasn't like as good as I wanted to be, and there were other people who were like passing me. And just one day I decided that like I want to stop. I think I could have pushed a bit more, and maybe that was a mistake back then. But it didn't turn out to be one. I mean, if I look at it from today's perspective, but I just one day I woke up and I said, okay, I'm not gonna do that. I was going to the university at that time, so, and finance was something that I basically the main thing, like I was studying economics, as you said, but finance was something that I was kind of interested in.
Nice.
So I kind of shifted myself towards finance at that point in time. So
As you said, like you don't regret that decision. You feel that you've done the right thing, or
well, I do think from this standpoint, but like back then I was like very lost and confused, and like what have I done? Like, you know, everyone who know me, they were like they would like bet that I would tomorrow play basketball and stuff, and I would bet on that, and my parents and everyone, and then just this was like a very sudden announcement from my end, and I was just a bit lost for a few years and stuff, and I was trying to find my way somewhere. But nowadays I'm super happy with it. I mean, there is like a lot of risk that sports carries on. Right? It's like injuries and stuff. You never know how far you'll go. And then, like, I think in the end, I managed to turn like whatever I learned through sports to manage to take the best out of it, like all the skills and everything, and kind of transfer it to where I am today. So I think sports really shaped me, and I'm really happy about it. I still play basketball, but I play it for myself, so it's like a different on a different level, and I'm quite happy with it.
Nice. And if there's someone who was like now he's in or she is in your situation, they're pretty committed to sports in their school and they're at a pretty good level. Like, how did you or what helped you make that decision? Did you make that decision alone, or was there influence from your parents? Like, how do you say, you know what, I'll prioritize my career and the university, and I'm gonna stop doing basketball?
Yeah, I think it was mainly my decision rather than my parents. So I never had this pressure from my parents or society or anyone. It was just me realizing that I was a bit disappointed at that point in time, and it was just like, for me, I was like, okay, I should do something else. I should maybe focus on something else. But I think you know, if you're good at sports, I still don't think that even if you're like best in class, whatever, you should not just like forget about university and don't go to university, because I think if you are dedicated enough, you can do both in parallel. And that's why I think the school system in the US is quite good in this sense, because they will like support people like quite a lot. So even if at the end of the day, like in 4 years from that point in time, you decide that you don't want to play basketball or whatever, you still have a great degree, and you can go and find some good job, right?
100%.
So I think that's very important, just not to leave everything for sports. But again, if you're good at sports, I think you should push as much as you can, and then you can see your limit
where it goes. Makes sense. Now you do investment banking, which is a different different beast. Tell us a bit more. What is investment banking? Maybe we can start with that, and then I'll follow up with some questions.
Sure. So investment banking, it's like, there is like a proper explanation of what investment banking is. There is like in London or like Wall Street, when people say investment banking, they usually refer to M&A. But investment banking is not just M&A. So investment banking is everything that is covered by investment bank. So it's M&A, obviously advisory role. Then it's all the capital markets roles as ECM, DCM, and then sales and trading arm. So all the trading and all the sales actions are also part of investment bank. And then also we have a research, which is also another kind of arm of investment bank. And then for people who don't know, corporate lending and lending, that goes more into corporate banking. So that's not part of investment banking, even though it's the same bank. So if for example HSBC, they do corporate lending, they cover corporate
commercial,
exactly,
more.
But that's not part of investment banking. That is more kind of corporate banking, and the investment banking is more kind of doing all the stuff that I mentioned before.
Nice. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of resources to define all the different parts of or divisions of investment banking.
Exactly.
Let's focus a bit on M&A. What is it? What do you do? Why does it exist in the financial system or in economies, basically?
No, basically, I mean, M&A is pure advisory role. So basically, what you do there, the focus is on like advising companies on mergers and acquisitions. So you're either going to be on sell side or buy side. So that's like a popular phrase that people use. So sell side is when you have a client who comes to you and they want to sell their whole business or part of the business, and you are the one leading the whole process from that point. And then you're obviously finding the counterparties, doing the whole. We can get into day-to-day work, but it's basically you are the person. You as a banker, you're leading the process and like kind of trying to match all the dots and get to the final result, which is selling the company, right? Or selling part of the company. And then vice versa, if you're on the buy side, if this is like a bigger or decent sized company, there will usually be a process, or it's going to be bilateral or whatever, but you will be on the other side trying to buy the company or part of the company. And then if it's a full process or auction, you will be competing with other bidders. And you will advise someone who wants to buy another company, and you will be their financial advisor. And then they will bid for the company they want to buy, and then effectively, if there are number of bidders, you're uncertain a bit of the outcome, and it doesn't mean that your client will win in the end. The one that will win will usually be the one who will bid the highest price. But basically, you're backing and supporting and advising someone to buy a company. So that's a buy side.
Makes sense.
A little bit, just because not always you're gonna be on a deal. So it doesn't mean that like all the time you'll have a lot of. It depends. Like there are some good teams in certain banks which are like well known, and they will have a big deal flow and always deals. But when you don't have deals, you need to pitch. So part of your job is also working on a pitch books. So basically what it happens is like your seniors are going to go and set up a meeting with the client. They'll say, okay, I'll come to you to pitch an idea. You'll prepare all the analysis, not obviously as detailed as when you're in a deal, but you will still have to do quite a...
When you say client, is the buying or selling person?
So it depends. Maybe you want to go and pitch them to buy something. Maybe you want to go and pitch them to sell part of the business.
Okay.
So it depends really what the idea is at that point in time, right? And what your.
Sorry to stop you, but let's say you're gonna pitch them to sell something. How do you know they want to even sell? Maybe they don't, or they publicly announce that, hey.
It depends. That's a really good question, because sometimes you're gonna come to them and like do your own analysis and see like, okay, maybe this division is not performing well. It's like slowing you down. Maybe you can use the proceeds from selling this division and use it to buy something else, or to, I don't know, pay down your debt, or do whatever you want. And then usually they would know which division is not performing well, right? But you can go with some good idea how to use that money, how to reshape the business, and then you can get the traction there. But sometimes you will also know that they want to sell it. So then you will pitch yourself more to kind of position to get a mandate, right?
You started at like a more of a global bank that had the corporate and the investment banking division, which is HSBC, and now you work at Evercore, which is, I think, more focused on investment banking.
Correct. It's independent advisor.
So tell us a bit more about the differences in terms of culture, working hours, types of clients, whatever you can share.
Sure, no problem. So as you said, HSBC is like a very global, it's like huge bank that covers like every part of the world. Now HSBC is well known in the world as a lending bank and more of a commercial bank rather than investment bank, even though they have like a massive investment banking arm. The thing is, like, there usually how you would get M&A mandates is that you're going to lend to the client for some time. You will create the relationship in that way, and then they will, like, when the time comes, when they do like some big corporate event, they will ask you to be their advisor, or whatever. Now the main difference, what people need to know, the main difference between like Evercore, what Evercore does, they're called, so the companies like Evercore, so it's like Evercore, Lazard, Rothschild, they're called elite boutiques, right? And then HSBC, so JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, all the banks are like investment banks. And the main difference between the two is that Evercore does not have the balance sheet, so Evercore cannot underwrite the deals. So what Evercore can do, Evercore can only do the advisory role.
Part.
So for example, if there is an IPO, HSBC can do the advisory role, but HSBC can underwrite the IPO. But Evercore cannot underwrite because they don't have the balance sheet. They're not the bank. They are a pure advisory firm, so they can only advise. So that is the main difference in terms of like the actual stuff that
operation,
exactly. But then in terms of like culture, etc., we can touch upon everything. So HSBC, as I said, I think given that it's like a massive bank, it's very hierarchical. So it's like the hierarchy is there, and you need to go through like gazillion processes and levels, and it's like very slow and etc. Whereas Evercore is, I think, a bit more entrepreneurial. And given that it's small teams, lean teams, it's like it's much easier to do stuff.
Act, build,
Like it's also much smaller, so it's not like just cultural point. It's much smaller. So if I have some issue, like for example with my computer or whatever, I just go down to the IT, give them, they fix it immediately, right? Whereas in HSBC, it's like a whole process. Because only that building over there has like 8,000 people. So imagine it's really an effort. But then I think HSBC would cover larger clients, because for them they incur massive costs. So for them it wouldn't make sense to do smaller deals that pay less. So they will try to chase those bigger deals. Whereas Evercore, we don't really mind doing a bit smaller deals, so mid-market to large cap, right? So we wouldn't do like super small deals, but we would do like whatever, I would say 150 to 200 million and above easily. Whereas HSBC, I know once we rejected 150 or it was around 200 million deal, we rejected because we didn't want to deploy resources there, because it wouldn't pay us enough to cover the cost. So that's one thing. But I think a lot of kids, like when they try to break in, they're all hyped about doing like these massive deals where they like merge like I don't know,
oil and something in the oil and gas.
It doesn't have to be over Facebook and whatever they do, like Twitter and Tesla, whatever. So this is like Elon Musk buying Twitter and stuff. So I personally don't think that you learn as much as you do on the smaller deals. Because first of all, when there are those massive companies, they already have their own internal M&A department, their own internal people that you will never get to speak with CFO or this kind of people. So you will be just executing their tasks, right? Whereas like in these smaller deals, you would like really get into like
details, maybe invited to meetings.
Exactly. You can see your impact much more, and you will be present in every single step of the process. because they don't have their internal kind of systems to cover that, so you will have to do that. It's obviously more work, but I think it's more rewarding in terms of learning experience, because you for sure learn more on these kind of deals rather than doing just like a massive merger that is going to end up on the front page of the FT. As much as that's good for your CV, etc., I personally don't think it builds the same skill set as it does when you do those kind of smaller deals. My personal opinion.
Makes sense. And you've been working in investment banking for almost 4 years, which I'm assuming there was a lot of times where the workload was heavy.
Yeah.
And for you, 4 years, that's like you're talking about a lot of effort being put in the process.
Yeah.
What I'd like to maybe touch on first is, have you ever maybe considered going to private equity, or you are really like what the question would be is, why haven't you considered leaving to something else?
Yeah. As you said, like investment banking can be very, very challenging.
Yeah.
Especially in the first couple of years, because you people kind of give you all the grunt work. They don't really care if you work past midnight, if you work weekends, because you're an analyst. You need to go there, work, and prove yourself. Now everything is changing a little bit, but it's still that kind of mentality where analyst needs to carry everything, and you need to be really sharp and really good with what you do.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna lie, there were like times when I was about to quit, and I was like, I'm done with this. It's been enough for me. Like I want to do something else, more chill, etc. But then like the reason why I moved from HSBC was because at HSBC I did a lot of capital market stuff. I did a lot of pitching, but I didn't do a lot of M&A.
Oh, okay.
Pure M&A. Thanks. So I wanted to move to like a better name shop, like Evercore. He has a better deal flow, etc., where I can build on my experience.
Yeah.
So that was my reason for not leaving the industry, but leaving the HSBC mainly. But now I did hear, like, once you put like a big name on your CV, like Evercore or whatever, you will have a lot of headhunters trying to poach you to private equities, hedge funds, etc. But I personally do not see myself going down that path, because for me it's like, okay, I learned quite a lot. My learning curve has flattened a little bit. That's fine, but I'm kind of comfortable with this job. Now I'm kind of more in like checking role where I check analyst work rather than me doing the analyst work. Stress, I know how to deal with stress now. I know how to manage people now, seniors, etc. So I'm very comfortable where I am. And like very long term, I see myself. I think I have an entrepreneurial spirit, and I want to start something on my own. So in that sense, like moving to private equity would be, I would see it as a step down for me, because even though in a very long term it's more money because you get carried interest and everything, but I would go from associate position back to like most junior position, going through all the grunt work again, all the high level, because the stress level I think in private equity is much higher, because you're actually investing your own money rather than being just some advisor.
True.
And especially if it's like a smaller private equity, then like a lot of work is on you, and if you mess up something, it's like it's on you. So there is not a lot of people checking stuff, etc. Whereas here you have like so many layers of people, like it's just a different thing. But at the end of the day, it's same work. So I don't think I would moving to private equity. I don't think I would do something more interesting or new, etc. So maybe covering like different industries or something like that would make sense. But for me, kind of long term, where I want to be
is having your own business.
Yeah, and it doesn't make sense for me to move to private equity now, do all the grind from the beginning, from zero, etc. So that was the only reason. But I mean, once you put, as I said, once you put a good investment bank on your CV, you will have a lot of those inbounds, like on a daily basis, basically. And if you wanna go, it's very easy to move.
Okay, that makes sense. You did an internship before doing the off-cycle analyst role at HSBC. And you also did a finance master's. What do you think was more helpful to you? If someone's considering, should I, after my bachelor's, go to try to find an internship, or should I do a master's in finance to specialize if they just did economics, for example? What was more useful?
So before HSBC, I've done an internship at ABN AMRO in Amsterdam. So I can tell you kind of both things. So basically, first for masters, I think master at IE was very, very practical. It wasn't like theoretical where you like just read the books, etc. You have like all the professors are kind of industry experts, and people that still work in the industry, and they come and teach. So they can really transfer you a real stuff that's out there. But still, to certain level, it's still university.
Of course.
So even though they teach you modeling, they teach you a lot of kind of tips and tricks to give you like a good base. It's still not the actual work. Because people think that, okay, investment banking is just modeling, etc. No, there is like a lot of admin stuff that you need to cover, a lot of like PowerPoint, a lot of formatting, a lot of stuff that like you don't really,
Correct.
there's no point of teaching you that on the university.
Yeah.
So therefore, once you start a job or start your first internship, it's very important that you find someone who is junior, like analyst or whatever, to kind of, to be your kind of mentor or whatever, and the person that you can go and ask any question, because there will be a lot of stupid questions, but you need to go and ask them, because that's how you're going to learn, that's how you're going to excel. And once you feel kind of okay with your Excel PowerPoint skills, then you get much better at your work. You're much quicker, you can do stuff better. So I think overall, I think internship gives you more kind of an edge, because you actually learn day-to-day stuff. But I think university can give you also a very good base.
Like the knowledge itself, the financial knowledge, exactly. Then you apply it. Makes sense. Makes sense. I think two last questions. The first one is, what advice do you have for people who's trying to break in, whether they're experienced people or graduates, basically? What would be one key skill maybe, or key advice, whatever you can think of, that is important to have?
So I think people should realize that it's a very competitive industry. Everyone know, and everyone has publicly, like you can see the salaries. So all of the investment banks increased salaries massively in the last couple of years. So making that industry even more attractive for people who just graduated. Because I don't think there is just a few jobs that are gonna pay you as much with like zero experience, literally. So you're gonna come out of university not knowing anything in a real life, basically, on how to do stuff, and they're gonna throw so much money at you. Obviously, that kind of drives all the best people to apply, and not only all the best people, but everyone. And basically, the pool of candidates is massive. So I think people should never quit and never be disappointed when they get rejected. It's just a numbers game. You just need to apply to any place that you can. And if you don't have investment banking experience, just apply to some no-name place, whatever, just put some experience on your CV, because then in the next round when you apply, it will make you so much stronger candidate. Because people who actually done M&A and investment banking, they are in much better position to get another whatever internship at some better place or full-time offer than someone who's never done it. Because at the end of the day, people know that like working at ABN AMRO or HSBC or Evercore effectively is not that much different. So once you went through something for the first time, it's going to be much easier.
Like your case, where you were able to shift to somewhere easier.
Exactly. Even though if you haven't covered the same industry, they can when you're junior, they can teach you pretty quickly to do stuff. But they want someone who is like good at their basics with the hard skills like Excel, PowerPoint, etc., and then they can build on everything else.
I think one great tip you had also about the networking as well.
I think that's very, very good point and worth mentioning. So a lot of people network and try to break into industry through networking, which I fully support. But I need to say one thing: when you network, you shouldn't just network for the sake of networking. It should be very targeted networking. And what does that mean? I'll explain now. So I can say that every analyst and associate from every big bank on the street, they receive hundreds of messages every summer before, and we all know, once I receive the message in my inbox on LinkedIn, I know what it is about. I know what they want to ask me, right? But so many times those kids, they are like hyped and they are sending like casino applications. They are all over the place. So sometimes I even receive the messages with the not correct name. So they just copy paste messages with like that they send to everyone, and they forget to change the name. And you see like, so there is no real bond, and you can't really make a connection that way. So what they can get from this, they can get your referral. So you can take their CV and put it there and say, okay, this guy is good. Can you have a look at it? But like, you will never do that for someone with whom you can't really connect. So I think for everyone to know this, it's really pointless. For example, you want to apply to Goldman Sachs, and you don't know anyone, it's not your school alumni, just to go on LinkedIn, Google Goldman Sachs analyst, find some random analyst in Goldman Sachs and ping him message. There is literally nothing that can come out of this. The networking should be very targeted. What does that mean? You should find someone, for example, in my case, I'm from Serbia, smaller country. So if I find someone from Serbia or ex-Yugoslavian countries, it's much easier with me to connect with that person. We will speak the same language or something, and already you can create some bond. So that's maybe one way. Second way is like using your university alumni network. So you already went through the same university. For example, me, I'm very willing to give back to IE by helping people to break into, because I feel that IE helped me. So I would be very keen to help someone else, So that's like another route. Or if, for example, for specific reason you want to do specific products. So what happened for me is when I was applying, I applied to Societe Generale, and it was I wanted to do DCM in the beginning, not M&A, and there was a position for CE EMEA DCM team, which is like Central and Eastern Europe, which is the part of the Europe where I come from. And what I've done is I found the person in the team. I messaged him. I was like, "Yeah, I'm from this region. I think I have the knowledge of the region. I'm quite interested, etc., etc." He was like, "Yeah, sure. Send this CV." I sent him the CV. The day after, I had the interview, and then a couple of stages. I was at the final stage. In the end, I didn't go for final stage because I got ABN AMRO and M&A. But I'm saying I managed to. I did like I targeted my networking.
One message.
It's one message, but it's why this team? Because I'm from there, because I'm interested. I know the region, etc., etc. It's not. It wasn't like general
I'm just
open.
Interested.
You need to have a specific reason why you apply if you want to go to a random person.
Makes sense.
So I think that's very important for people to know, just not to waste their time sending like random messages to random people, because nothing will come out of it.
Makes sense. Yeah. My last question is. We can cover that or not. What I wanted to talk about with you about it is if you have any inputs on how AI might change this, right? Because there's a lot of work, like doing a presentation or gathering market data, which can be done pretty quickly by using ChatGPT or. So do you have anything to share, or we can just skip the question? Like.
Not much. I don't think it's going to be as disruptive to our role, because at the end of the day, it's very people-oriented role, and even on a senior level, you need to like do face-to-face meetings. But on a junior level, definitely it can help. It's a tool that can really speed up your process. But I think ChatGPT is still in developing, and it has a lot of nuances around. It's not 100% correct, so you would not be able to rely. I don't think you're still able to rely on ChatGPT to do your job. Fully automate. So I think people in investment banking should be scared about AI replacing their jobs. Maybe part of the jobs, yes, maybe speeding up processes, but like the jobs itself, no, not really.
So it enhances. Makes sense. I think that's it, Nicola. Thank you. Cool. Thank you very much for coming.
No
It was a very insightful episode, and don't forget to subscribe and watch us in the next episode.
Cool. Thanks for inviting me, and it was my pleasure.
Thanks.
Cheers.